What is up, guys? MTG of MTG Reviews, and welcome back to the channel. And if you're new or even returning to the channel but not subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel and let's grow the channel together and make it the greatest on land. Before we get into the review, I want to show you something about the potential of the car that we are reviewing today. Cue the music and roll the tape. And if you have a car that you'd like us to review, please contact us on WhatsApp at 064 684 8409. Without further ado, let's get into the video. They say beauty lies in the eye of the beholder, but in the case of the VW Polo, everyone seems to agree that it's one good looking car. As you see on today's review, we have the VW Polo Life 85 kilowatts, the most loved car in SA, in which is a blessing and a curse. Well, we'll get more into that later on the review. If you're a returning viewer, you probably know that we've covered the Polo before, but it was the pre-facelift. So on today's review, we are gonna cover some highlights and some changes that the facelift has over the pre-facelift. So for those who don't know what a facelift is, a facelift is, as I would describe it in modern terms for you to understand, it's like a BBL, whereby it's still you're still the same person, but with some adjustments in the right places which can improve the way you look, or in some cases, as we've seen mostly in SA, that it does the opposite. And comparing it with the pre-facelift, if you want to check out the pre-facelift review, click on the pop-up banner at the top right corner or click the link in the description. So the facelifted model was introduced back in November 2021 and was available in January 2022. So let's start with the exterior. This car comes in 7 colors and all of them don't add any extra cost, in which I believe it's a good thing. Not necessarily believe, but then it's a good thing because you don't have to pay for more for your choice of color. We have metallic, pearlescent and solid color scheme. So what has changed on the front? So we have a new headlight design which makes the front look significantly better, especially on models without LED headlights just like this one. So the front is an overall improvement as it looks a bit more aggressive while maintaining a friendly face. Though it's not a major update, of course, I mean it's just a facelift. So what do I think of the front look of the facelift? I think it looks good, but not enough to make you upgrade if you're owning the pre-facelift model. I believe this was a necessary update, but then it shouldn't make you upgrade in any way. So, but then the car looks better for sure. Moving to the side, we have the same sharp design as before, the only difference being the wheel design, in which there's only 2 options for the 85 kilowatts Life, the standard 15-inch E6 and the optional 16-inch Torsby. And on this review unit, we have the Torsby 16-inch, which are 5,100 rands option. They look okay, but not really that good. I feel like the 17 inches are way better, but then you get those ones when you get the R-line spec. So yeah, that's that about the wheels. The back is where we come across some big changes too, with a newly integrated tail design which extend into the boot lid, unlike before, in which I actually like the pre-facelift more than this one, which it was a much simpler design. The rear bumper is updated as well. It looks pretty good, and the model naming is under the VW badge in big letters. Moving into the interior, we are greeted with a newly designed steering wheel which looks way better than the one of the pre-facelift, and it's multifunctional as you can see. I really like the integration of the VW badge as well, though it looks like a sticker. Behind the steering wheel we have these dinky pedal shifters which are unnecessary. Honestly, I don't know why they're here, But then even buggies these days get them. So where am I to complain? So I'm saying they are necessary because the car will automatically upshift even when in manual mode. So it kind of defeats the purpose. So anyways, moving on, this model we have an optional digital gauge cluster, which looks pretty cool, but then it's not really that much customizable, in which defeats the whole purpose as well. You can change the middle part of the speedometer and rev meter and some few other things, but then nothing remarkable. Now to the infotainment screen. So it has received some minor improvements in terms of user interface. As you can see, we now have a pull down tab which has some few controls and notifications. Another thing in which is new to the Polo is the driver alert system, which is gonna tell you when to take a break depending on the driver behavior, time of the day, and duration of the drive. And we of course have wired Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. But then that's where I got to notice something in which I don't know how to feel about. We have USB Type-C ports, in which is a good thing, just going with the times. But then we have no USB Type-A port inside. Even on the glove box, there's nothing. I couldn't find one. We don't have it. So this means you can't play music using your USB. But then I'm not really mad about it. I mean, who still uses a USB to play music? Just connect your Bluetooth and then you'll be fine. But if you ever want to charge your phone without a cable, you can wirelessly charge your phone down here. But then that's not for everyone. You must have a phone with a glass back. So if you're using Boma Samsung unfortunately it's not gonna work. It's just for the Samsung S models. And then if you're using iPhone, any iPhone below the iPhone 8, it's never gonna work. So you must be using an iPhone 8 upwards. So yeah, I'm sorry my sister, you can't do that with your iPhone 6. But then anyways, enough about that. Let's move on. So if you look closely, we have a new gear knob, and which is not an improvement. As I said, a facelift can be an improvement or a step back. The gear knob is a step back. Let me explain. So on the pre-facelift, we had a shifter which was better because the gear selected text was on the side along the gear. So when changing gear, you were able to shift and still be able to see the gear that you were changing into. On the new one, the text is on top of the gear, so you don't know which gear, because you're gonna be covering it with your hand. You don't know which gear you're shifting it into. So, but then I guess you'll have to adapt and hold it in some other ways. And while talking about a gear knob, we have a reverse camera fitted into this car, which is actually helpful for new drivers, in which I believe the Polo is going to be bought by many new drivers. And on the 85 kilowatts live, we don't get a drive mode selector. We're only gonna get that when you option the R line or just go all in and get a GTI. And we have one of the important aspects of owning a Polo, the sunroof. I once saw a tweet that says owning a car without a sunroof is a coffin. It's like having a coffin on wheels or something like that. I'll just put it up here. Well, especially on the Polo, because why would we get a Polo without a sunroof? I mean, why? Why are you even getting a car? Just get a bike or something. How is it at the back? It's okay. Here's how I fit in with a front seat in my ideal driving position. There's 2 charging ports in which it's Type-C as well. So you must have an adapter if you're using Type-A cable, or just buy a Type-C. Move with the times. And we have 351 liters of boot space, just like the pre-facelift model. So let's get into the performance of this car. But then before that, guys, wait. If you haven't subscribed by now, just give me your reason in the comment section, because I mean, look at the quality production that I'm giving you. Come on, guys, just hit that subscribe button and you're good. So okay, enough about complaining. We have a 1-liter 3-cylinder engine dishing out 85 kilowatts and 200 newton meters of torque, which is good enough for most people and picks up very well. And when overtaking, you will hear it whine when accelerating hard, but then it's okay. And we have claim 0 to 100 of 9.7 seconds, which is okay, but then not super fast. And the claim fuel consumption of 5.4 liters per 100 kilometers, and the top speed of 200 kilometers per hour. So my overall take on its performance is that it's okay. It's okay. It's not a performance car, but then if you want to get that, just get a Polo GTI. I mean, just get a Polo GTI once, and we only live once, guys. So yeah. So this is a nearly perfect car to own, as it's a good driving little thing, and with its dimensions, it's easy to navigate the city with. Another thing which I picked up is that this car has a bit more refined gearbox tuning compared to the pre-facelift, in which I complained in the previous review about its low speed refinement. Another thing is that you can close your windows and sunroof while outside when you press and hold the lock button on your key. So this is a good car to own, but then you might not own it for long, as it's not only topping the charts when it comes to sales, it's topping the charts when it comes to hijackings as well, as this is one of the most hijacked cars in South Africa. So you have to be extra careful and be selective of the routes that you take while traveling. So is this facelift an improvement? Well, let's see. Here are some similar shots, though it's not an entirely fair comparison, as I'm comparing the R line with the 9R line model, but then let's take a look anyways. So the cost of owning this car, so these guys have said is the Polo Life 85 kilowatts, which has a base price of 397,500 rands. But then this car has some few optional extras which bumps the price to 444,550 rands. So calculating the monthly repayment of this exact spec, using the VW finance parameters without deposit, the car will cost you 8,383 rands over 6 years. The monthly repayments will go down to 7,544 rands with 10% deposit. So let's factor in the fuel on a Polo. So a Polo has a 40-liter tank, so multiplying that with the current fuel price will be around 918 rands, but then that will differ depending on your location and constant change of fuel price. And factoring the insurance, at an estimate of 1,000, the total monthly repayment without deposit will be 10,301 rands, but then that will go down to 9,472 rands with 10% deposit. So yeah, owning a new car is very expensive, so yeah, tread carefully. So what's my take on the VW Polo? Well, this is undoubtedly a good car, but then should you buy it? My answer is a yes. If you're looking for a compact hatchback, then I think this is the one to go to. So it's just the best. It doesn't really have any formidable rivals, and it's a good car after all. But then another question is that should you upgrade to it when you're owning a pre-facelift? So my answer to that is a no, because it doesn't change much. The improvements are not necessarily worth the upgrade. But then if you just like want to buy a new car, then most definitely go for it. So yeah, that's all from me for today. So I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.